Oh yeah, everybody. I like that groove right there. Welcome back to another edition of Gimme 5 with my boy Mark Gray. We got a lot of good things to talk about this upcoming show. I'm hyped up about our HBCU School of the Week. If you don't know, it's the green and gold of Norfolk State University.
Behold, Valentine Boulevard, Tidewater Drive, home of the best.
What you know about that, man?
Man, I'm telling you, those big smoked turkey legs, particularly at their homecoming, off the charts. We got plenty of time to talk about that, but it's championship week in HBCU Division II. They will crown champions in the SIAC and CIAA. We are all over it. And then you got the MEAC that's throwing a curveball with a big win at your alma mater. And then in the SWAC, well, still counting down towards the finish where it's anybody's race.
Yeah, and also, let's not forget, homecoming season is officially done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the top 5 HBCU homecomings for the year 2018. It's going to shock you and surprise some folks.
Yeah, I hope you get this one right, my friend.
I always do.
Well, at least according to you, of course. And then on a serious note, African-American offensive coordinators at the FBS level really getting a shot to move up. We'll talk about it when you consider 2 of the top 4 programs being led by coaches who are African-American who are calling plays offensively. So we got a lot to get to in a little bit of time. We're going to give it to you straight. No chaser, as we always do. Your thoughts, your comments, hit us up on all our social media platforms. But we did miss something last week.
What did we miss last week? Oh, I know what we missed. You predicted that Howard University was going to beat Florida A&M.
I didn't miss that. I was all on. I probably was the only person in the country that was all over that. But we did miss another MEAC headline, and thanks to the folks down in Orangeburg for letting us know. When it comes to coaches on the hot seat, Buddy Pugh, one of the last vestiges to the Willie Jeffries era. Should he stay or should he go?
You know, I'm glad that the viewers went out there and told us we didn't talk about that. I don't know. I say this, if you look at the win-loss record, obviously, he's on the hot seat, and he'll be the first one to tell you. And he announced this may be his last season down there coaching in Orangeburg, but be careful what you wish for down there, because he does more than just coach football. He raises money for the program. He's the face of the university. You bring in somebody else and don't give them the proper resources, and I think they will miss Buddy Pugh in a hurry. So I think it's up to Buddy Pugh if he thinks the time is right for him to leave South Carolina State University.
Well, I know that when I talked to the folks when they came up to Baltimore, the conventional wisdom is at the beginning of the season, he wanted to perhaps retire. Now, he's grown attached to this very young team full of freshmen and sophomores. They got a lot of talent down there. And you might want to, sit and chill, because they jump too soon. They could end up, down at the bottom of the league.
Now, that's on a real serious note, but let's lighten it up a little bit.
Indeed.
Now. It's never easy when you're talking about that. Let's make sure y'all continue to reach out to us on our social media channels there. And guess what? If y'all don't believe it can be done, take a look at what I saw when I was covering the Magic City Classic.
Anyway, remember, your thoughts, always hit us up at any of our social media platforms. And remember, we can restart the selfie of the week.
Selfie of the week. Look forward to it. Send us your pictures, your images, and hey, the good ones, they'll make it on the Gimme 5 show.
That's right. So we got plenty of room. How about the 5 best selfies? What do you think?
Hey, Mark, man, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Now let's do it the right way. Let's get ready for the 2018 Best HBCU Homecomings with this week's Gimme 5. Now it's time for this week's Gimme 5, brought to you by the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. How about this, y'all? It's officially over the 2018 homecoming season. So I'm going to give you the top 5 HBCU homecomings for 2018 only. Coming in at number 5, let's go on down to the SIP. Jackson, Mississippi, that is. They had the J-Sets, they had the Sonic Boom of the South, and they had a huge crowd for their homecoming, coming in at number 5. Number 4, we continue to go down to the school where they ball and parlay in the shed. Tuskegee University did not disappoint with their homecoming this year. Coming in at number 3, GHO, the greatest homecoming on earth at North Carolina A&T, falls down a spot to the number 3 position. They've never been number 1, even though they think so, but you cannot move up the charts when your headliner, Cardi B, cancels on the homecoming concert. That costs you, Aggie fans. Number 2, America's best homecoming, Howard University, but they lack some of the star power that I've seen in past years in terms of Yard Fest and some of the other things. Having Medea there was a good touch, but Bison, you fell to number 2. Number 1, best homecoming in the HBCU season of 2018. Let's give it credit where credit is due. The Rattlers of Florida A&M threw a fantastic homecoming. They packed the stadium. Everything was there that you wanted in a top-tier event. Oh, yeah. And the football team got really good, too. Not quite making it on the list, on the bubble. I hear you, Panther fans. Prairie View A&M has a fantastic homecoming, and they're starting to gain traction, just not quite in the top 5.
We have a shocker, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot believe you actually sold out your folks the Mecca. Come on, man.
I'm not selling out the Mecca. I get paid to call it like I see it. And I just got to be honest. For y'all folks at Howard University, I know you're going to give me a hard time.
The Howard guy.
But I was there. I've seen them all. And I got to give credit where credit is due. I didn't like the lack of star power this year for the Yard Fest.
So you do agree that Howard Homecoming is something more than just a homecoming. It's like Access Hollywood meets Sports Center, right?
I like that. That's a good analogy.
All right. So as long as traditionally, however, I would have included Atlanta, and I grouped the whole Atlanta University Center thing as one.
I don't.
Especially when Clark and Morehouse are playing on that same day.
I got you. If there was a university down there called Spellhouse, then they would be their top 5 every year. But it's Spelman and Morehouse, 2 separate institutions. Throw in a little Clark, they can't make my top 5.
Man, look, Brawley Drive is lit. Especially when they got the trifecta going. So and don't sleep on Tennessee State. If you've never done their homecoming at Tiger Town, Nashville, Party City,
I'm learning something.
I'm getting it in.
I'm learning something about you, Mark Gray. We've done 3 shows. And every show you managed to bring Tennessee State to the league.
Because you forget them.
You always managed
They're
to bring
family.
Tennessee State. They're not a top 5 homecoming.
Yes, they are.
Point blank, no.
Yeah, well, so you say, my friend, so you say. I will tell you, they have all the elements, big fan base, great bands. They normally bring in another HBCU. They play at a stadium.
I'm not going to listen to you, but I will say this. If you notice, and I've said this for a while, the MEAC is a homecoming kick.
It is.
We homecoming better than any other conference out there. SWAC, y'all tailgate the best. That's why it shouldn't come as a shocker that the top 3 homecomings, top 3, were all MEAC institutions, and I think that part is undebatable, and then you throw in the outsiders there. But the SWAC, they tailgate like nobody else. They do it, and they class it like nobody else. But like I say, I call it like I see it.
You always talking about how there's one that you gotta omit. And with all due respect, I love Tuskegee, but I'm not quite sure Tuskegee's homecoming.
You gotta check it out.
Their classics are, their big event games are, but homecoming, and I will admit Tuskegee haven't been there yet. So all the more reason for you to have me down.
So you don't know what it's like to ball and parlay homecoming style down there.
Anyway, remember, if we got it right, let us know. Hit us on all our social media platforms, and if you agree or disagree with me or Jay, then let us know that way too, because your voice counts. Let's take a look at the hot topics from around the world of HBCU football as we give it to you straight, no chaser. Jay, after FAMU comes to DC, loses at Howard with a chance to clinch the MEAC race, wide open right now. FAMU wins out, they're in. North Carolina A&T wins out, they could be in. Who's in a better position right now to make that run?
I mean, the key is who's going to make it to the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. Right now, I couldn't tell you. Because if I had to pick a favorite, I would say Florida A&M because they beat North Carolina A&T head-to-head, and that's the first tiebreaker. But the reality of the situation is this. Florida A&M has not beat Bethune-Cookman in 7 years, y'all. 7 years. That should not make the Rattlers feel good. But the flip side of that is North Carolina A&T has not beaten their in-state rival, North Carolina Central. They've lost to the Eagles 3 of the last 4 years. So that's no gimme there. But I would say if you think both teams will lose to their rival, then Florida A&M would make it to the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. It could play out anyway. I'm just really stuck. I don't know. But that A&T team, they're playing good football.
It's a crazy mixed up MEAC. And speaking of crazy and mixed up,
I want to hear from you because you know that CIAA and that SIAC better than nobody. What's going on down there, man?
It's championship week in the D2 HBCU conferences, and I got to say that from a hot seat perspective, not that there's any job security on the line here, Bowie State's got to win. You got arguably the greatest player in their history, Amir Hall,
quarterback,
who's won every award, he's written every record. He's now amongst the CIAA greats. He's a guy that if he doesn't win, would that tarnish his legacy?
No. Black College Player of the Year, you don't tarnish the legacy. You blame it on the rest of the team.
Spoken like a true quarterback, my friend. And then you go against Fayetteville State. You don't have to go through the, jinx that's been Winston-Salem State. It just seems to be, if why not now, it'll never happen for Bowie.
I think Bowie State should do it. I'm worried about Fayetteville State. They got blown out by Winston-Salem last week. And they played their starters. They like to run the football. Winston-Salem State just played better football than them. No excuses. We'll see how it plays out on the field.
And then when you talk about the SIAC, Albany State undefeated in the conference, they have to go to Miles. Miles is beating them and Tuskegee, and they're playing that game in Birmingham.
Yeah, sometimes quirky scheduling, but I'm more upset. Man, what happened? I hopped on the bandwagon. Morehouse, Maroon Tigers, I believed in you. Had you ranked in the top 5, and you couldn't make it to your conference championship game.
And what would that say if Miles, a below 500 team, knocks out Albany State, who's ranked number 8 in that Super South region?
Yep. And we got to get on a serious subject, though, real serious subject. And we talked about it, the lack of respect for black offensive coordinators. I was doing some research. 3 of the top 4 teams in the playoffs right now have African-American signal calls. I'm talking about Clemson, I'm talking about Michigan, and I'm talking about Alabama. But yet, how come none of the top 10 teams have an African-American head coach?
That remains the $150,000 question in terms of opportunity, because coordinating positions are supposed to be the ones that are like the laboratory for head coaching opportunities. So you can't say that guys aren't being groomed anymore. Where's the opportunity after they've been groomed? And I don't want to hear that stuff about they don't interview well.
If the playoffs started today, 3 of the 4 offenses are led by African-American coordinators.
I would say this, University of Maryland, Mike Loxley is from Maryland. He's been under Nick Saban. You want to clean the mess up in College Park? Mike Loxley might be a guy that you want to bring back home. Just one man's opinion. What say you? Remember, you can hit us up on all our social media platforms if you got some thoughts on that as well. But Jay Walker, now is the moment that everybody in Tidewater has been waiting for. I mean, think about it. This is a place that's given us the likes of Allen Iverson, Sweet Pea Whitaker, and Bruce Smith. It also gives you our School of the Week, Norfolk State University.
Now it's time for this week's HBCU School of the Week, like we always do, Gimme 5 style. I'm going to give you the 5 things you have to know about Norfolk State University. Number 5, the Spartan Legion Band. How good is this band? Well, this season, they cracked the undefeated rankings as a top 5 band in the whole HBCU landscape. Number 4, let's get educated, or maybe edumacated, as we give them credit for the author, Nathan McCall. Nathan McCall wrote a life-changing book in my life with It Makes Me Wanna Holler. Number 3, legendary coach, athletic director, fundraiser, Dick Price. He was the head or the face of Norfolk State Athletics for a long, long, long time, and you can't talk about Norfolk State University without mentioning Dick Price. Number 2, another legendary name at Norfolk State, and that is Harrison Wilson Jr., the long-term president of Norfolk State University, led the Spartans' emergence as he was the president for over 22 years. Oh yeah, and he's got a little famous offspring you might have heard about as well.
Hey Jay, man, thanks for the shout out and everything. Thank you for listening me, my grandfather, for number 2 on things to know about Norfolk State. I appreciate y'all, fellow QB and everything else. I used to go to Norfolk State games all the time, the band, everything else. So I know y'all still rocking and everything, but just wanted to shout y'all out. My grandfather was there for 22 years, I believe it was. So love y'all. Holla at you. Go Hawks.
And the number 1 thing you must know about Norfolk State University, when you go down there, they don't just say Norfolk State. They tell you, behold, the green and the gold. One of the most proud fan bases in all of the HBCU landscape. Not quite making a list, but on the bubble, how about this? NBA ball player Kyle O'Quinn had a memorable run playing basketball for the Spartans. That's what I got to say about Norfolk State. You want to talk about it? Hit me up on all of our social media platforms.
Go Hawks. Big ups to Russell Wilson.
QB Club, baby. We all stick together, man. QB Club.
Field Generals or whatever.
Yeah. So I appreciate you, Russ, for doing that. That lets you know the list is legitimate. But Mark, what you got to say about it?
It is a legitimate list, but you missed 2 key people that should be on the list. First off is former sports writer turned novelist Curtis Bunn, who wrote a novel called Homecoming Weekend, no less.
Okay.
Which is about 5 college classmates.
Only going to be one author on my list, though, man. And I'm not dropping Nathan McCall, man.
Well, I'm just saying. Curtis Bunn's been on Essence
give me
Magazine's top-selling list.
I'll listen to another one.
5, 7, 8 books and counting now. So, and then there's arguably the best basketball player, street ball legend, Pee Wee Kirkland, Norfolk State guy. Now, he, with all due respect, I mean, Pee Wee Kirkland, if you don't know his story, you got to Google him. This is a guy that probably would have been Clyde Frazier if not better,
shoulda,
when he got caught up in that life.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'm giving credit to Michael O'Quinn on the basketball
O'Quinn,
team. Kyle
Mm-hmm.
O'Quinn making it to the NBA at a time when Norfolk State really wasn't that good. He had a great tournament, so I'd rather have the guy that made it to the NBA than the guy that coulda, shoulda, woulda made it to the NBA.
Legends, though. Legends. Kyle may make the money. Pee Wee's still a legend. Just want to put it to you like that. Don't forget, Norfolk State fan, if you got thoughts, concerns, agreements, or disagreements, hit us up on all of our social media platforms. That way you can join the party and hook us up, straight no chaser, as well. I know you got so many fans all over down there that they're just dying to interact.
We continue to
with
grow.
you.
It's always good to talk to you. We'll see you next week on the Gimme 5 show.